Hi there. Hi there. It is 2023, and I'm Trisha Broderick with Ignite Insight and Innovation, and I cannot believe it's 2023. But here we are, new month, new first Friday, new topic as we're going forward. And so, with every new year comes new learning, new opportunities. Although I think it was a keynote at a Scrum gathering, and he put up an acronym. It was like AFLO. It's like another F in learning opportunity. And so there is a little bit of that, but it's true. It's a new year. It's new learning, new opportunities. But it doesn't mean that learning is always easy, or logically we can tell ourselves, obviously we need to learn, and it still can be hard. It can be struggling. It can be difficult, and we can just want to go back to what we already know. So I'm going to give a few tips today to kick off the new year, to remind myself. I mean, sure, this is for you, but let's get real. It's also to remind myself as I head into a new year of learning as to what helps me get in that headspace the best, or stay learning and not just throw my hands, walk away, and give up a bit. So that's what we're going to talk about today, just for a little bit. And I was trying to we're going to make today's very quick because I have a very special visitor right now, and I tried to get her to come on, but she wouldn't do it. But we're going to go shopping after, because again, it's a new year. So today's going to be a little bit quick today. So my first tip is any chance I get to learn with other people, I will take over trying to learn separately. I'm even doing a handstand challenge this year. Like, that's my goal, is to be able to do a handstand not next to a wall. And I understand that for some people, like, you can even do it by a wall. You've already achieved something. And it took me a while to be able to feel confident enough to do that. But I would like to do a handstand away from wall. But I'm even finding myself, like, I was so happy when my best friend and then Alistair Coburn's like, I'm in too. And we're all going to kind of try and do this. And chances are they're going to do it way faster than I am. It's going to be like December 27th before I can get a handstand across. But I'm going to keep trying. But I find that learning and doing things with other people, one, it can keep me motivated. Like, just even in this pack, like, we're not actively trying to do it together. We're all completely in different spots. But the fact that I know that somebody else is trying to learn and do it at the same time keeps me motivated, keeps me engaged, keeps me doing it. The other dynamic is when I can do a learning with somebody, and we're talking through things, I just process it better personally. Like, that made me think of this, and I go deeper. I remember Jake Calabrese once said, I'm just going to keep talking until a light bulb goes off for you. And it totally worked. And so in a lot of cases, for me, learning with others not only is motivating, but it helps me to go deeper, think of things I haven't thought of. It's part of that co-intelligence that Diana Larson and I write about. The second tip is just be repetitive about it. Even doing the handstand challenge, I'm every day trying, right? So it's doing it multiple times. Like, training from the back of the room kind of highlights 6 ways, 6 times. But just in general, reminding myself I'm not going to get it on one time, that it's going to take practice, that it's going to take doing it multiple times before it feels natural or comfortable, and that's part of the journey, that it's not a failure, that's part of the learning, that's what's making it stick, so that it doesn't just go away, or just a short-term habit with it. Like, you're building that memory with it when you do it in a repetitive way. Third thing, make them small goals, and then celebrate the successes of those small goals. I think sometimes we make such a big goal that it's hard to feel excited. Or we're trying to learn something that's so massive that it just feels impossible. And so take little steps, but acknowledge those steps. Like, even earlier, even as I'm in this broadcast, right? I said, I realize that it's a big, big deal that I can do one up against the wall. I'm not downplaying. Like, that took me a while to do that, and I want to celebrate that. Although Ravi says to do it with a mat too. Okay, I'm going to try that, and see, like, the learning with others already helpful. I'm going to try the mat too as I'm going on with this. But like, celebrate those successes. Like today, I held it for a little bit longer, and granted, when I say a little bit longer, it's like a second. Okay. It's not impressive, but it's a second. And it's progress along those lines. And I think that it's hard to sometimes see our progress. And when you're doing something like a handstand, you can take a video, you can see that progress over time. When we're learning in the workplace, I mean, I don't see me taking handstands in the workplace. So like when I'm learning in the workplace and I'm trying to think about how I'm going to do something, it's sometimes hard to see those successes. So I think of it in terms of what little steps can I take, and then what steps can I celebrate with that, and go along with that. Like, okay, we got these pages written, or okay, we did this campaign. I sent out this newsletter. Like, what are the steps that I want to celebrate along the way when I'm doing that learning of how to be a better marketer, right? Like, if I don't, I diminish kind of the learning that's already taken place. And that's not fair to yourself. It's not fair to other people. It's not an example you're setting. So this is one of those things that I always have to like stop and go, okay, how far have I come along, right? I'm way better than I was at this point. And yes, I still have a far way to go. The mountain's still high, right? But I'm making progress. And I think that's the need that your story you need to tell yourself in that brain is like that I'm making progress, and to celebrate that progress along the way, because learning is hard. It can be frustrating with things. So 4, I do this like when I'm like, okay, forget it. I'm not going to be able to do it. And I almost want to bail out. Like, and okay, let's get real. When I bail out, when I'm ready to quit, when I'm ready to just walk away from something because it's like, forget it. It's too hard. It's not a thing. I try to remind myself of a time that I also told myself that story, right? That I thought it was too hard, that it was not possible. And yet then I did it. I don't know why the fitness thing, I don't think of the stories that I'm going to tell, but for some reason the stories are all fitness popping into my head right now. But like, I remember thinking there's no way I can run a 5K. I had a friend that ended up singing at the end of one, and she's like belting out, "I will survive." And I'm so mad because she's hitting every note. I can't breathe. But that distraction of that got me to the end, and I did it. And that was a goal that I was like, no way did I ever think I could do that, was run 3 miles. Running is the punishment in any other sport. Why would you choose to run was always my mindset and my thought process. And so anytime, like when I'm in the workplace or home and I'm struggling, I'm like, this is impossible. Forget it. I'm not going to do it. I do think back to like those moments when I'm like, okay, I thought I couldn't run 3 miles either. And I did. So it almost like checks me in a lot of ways. Like when I start telling myself that such a strong narrative that I can't do something. And I remember when I tried to tell myself that narrative before, and I did. So, and I was able to do it. So I like kind of calling my own BS on myself and reminding myself, doesn't always work. I sometimes am still in that moment. But if I can check myself, I can kind of rewrite that narrative of like, okay, this is really hard. And that was really hard. And it took me a long time. So I need to give myself grace and do this, which leads into the last tip that I want to do is sometimes take the break. Just take the break. It's okay. I think sometimes when I try to force the learning too much, like I try to speed the learning, I try to get it too fast or be done with it or have the check mark, because you know how I love my check marks, right? It's not very quality. It's not very good. It's not very lasting. It doesn't feel as big of a win in different ways. And so sometimes I just need to go, okay, I can take a break. and it's okay. I can walk away. I don't have to have it done tomorrow. I don't have to do this today. Like, I need to write an article for something, and I've tried to like sit down, but I'm in a place of obligation. I don't want to learn this new tool that I have to write the article in, which is really what's causing me to not want to, because I don't want to learn the new tool. So I'm like dragging my feet. But the reality is like, if I try to force it when I'm in that headspace, I'm not going to learn that. I will tell myself every reason why that is the dumbest tool on the face of this earth to validate why I don't want to be doing this right now. And that's not going to result in a good article. It's not going to result in a good impression of the tool. Like, it's ridiculous, but it's what I would do. I would spiral while I was trying to learn. And maybe that's part of like confirmation bias, right? Where you're like, you don't want to like it. So you find every reason why you're not liking it as you're learning it, as you're exploring it, as you're doing it. So when I find that I'm in that headspace to start, I don't try and force it always and like go forward, because I will just guarantee to not like it. And at that point, I've learned the wrong thing. I've learned the thing I didn't want, or may not even be true. And so as you're going forward with it, it's like, choose where you're starting off with, right? And what kind of headspace do you want to be as you're learning this, as you're going to approach learning, as you're doing this. And I know that sounds kind of fluffy, right? But the reality is we do. I was just on this call with Humanizing Work, and speaker Lee and Peter Green were talking through things, and it was just like, whatever sensations you're feeling versus what's the narrative you're telling yourself. And that's the thing I took away most from that conversation, is like, the sensations you're having because you're nervous about the learning, because you're afraid of failing, because you're struggling with learning it. What narrative are you telling yourself with it? That this is all signs that you shouldn't be learning this, or this is excitement, or is this part of the journey? Like, what is that narrative you really want to be? Because if you go with this sucks, then I'll spiral right down into a place where then I don't actually learn, and I don't take away everything that I need the most from it. So that's kind of where I'm at. So that was a cool, even like for me today, like having that coming in, and I didn't even think about it until I was talking about this, is like, where is that mindset, and do you need to take a break before you try and jump into that learning? Now, if you keep trying to take your break, and you take your break, and you take your break, you are not actually taking a break at that point. You are truly avoiding. And that is a different story. But in some cases, like, hey, you know what? The handstand's not there for me today, and that's okay. I'm just gonna move along with my day and try again tomorrow, as we're going forward. And now I'm almost afraid that I've talked about the handstand thing, that at some point I'm going to have to like prove that I've done it before by the end. But it's my 2023 goal. So again, maybe the end of December, who knows? But I'm going to set it as we go. So you'll be able to hold me to this if I get it by the end. See, maybe that's a bonus tip at 6. Tell people what you're trying to learn. Here's your bonus tip that I wasn't planning on, but tell people what you're trying to learn, because when it's visible, there's a little bit of pure accountability. There's a little bit of like pride and motivation and dedication to doing it. Mostly because my friends, though, personally, are big trolls and jerks, and they will endlessly taunt me if I don't, they always appreciate when I do these kinds of challenges, because I post endlessly about them. And then they mock me for that as well. So, I have friends. We troll each other. It's all good. It's all good. So that's my tips for some learning as you start your new year, as you're going into this year of your learning opportunities. And maybe we get to learn something together as we go forward with it. In terms of politics, I do actually have a few spots available in the upcoming Leading Amazing Teams that is in just like 2 weeks with Jake Calabrese. You can check that out. It's January 17th to the 19th. And then I have a spot or two left in the advanced CSM that is all focused on facilitation skills. Facilitation skills, not just having the marker and taking the meeting notes. No, 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 no. Whole set of skills all involved in it. So that is also available in January. I think there's a spot or two left for that. The impactful training and speaking is full for January, but so I've put March up already. I haven't put the other dates for the next Leading Amazing Teams or the Advanced CSM yet, but I'll be doing that sometime this month. But again, it will be like March, April-ish timeframe before I hold the next ones of those. And then there is, I am partnering with Think Louder to do one weekend CSM this month as well. And you can find that with Think Louder or on the Scrum Alliance site. And because I wrote it down this time, because I was a little goal right there, see, check mark. Is my next Lead Without Blame live that I'm going to do with Diana is on the 20th this month. So we'll be live. I'll be live a second time this month with Diana for Lead Without Blame. The book is available and out there, and it has been, as we're going into this new year, it has been a really cool thing to watch and hear and engage with people about what they're taking away from the book and what stood out for them. And so I love hearing those things. So reach out, let me know. But otherwise, let's look forward to Happy New Year and looking forward to 2023.